Hey guys, Eric from Satisfied Incorporated here, and I just wanted to do a quick video on this Harbor Freight sandblasting cabinet. I can only assume there's about 1 billion people that have this cabinet at home, and can only assume that a lot of people have the same problems that I've been having. I've been having this problem for, I don't know, man, 8 years. The cabinet kind of works, but not really, and you'll know if you have the same problem I do by this description. So the cabinet kind of works, but it feels like there's slugs of media coming up the tube. And then what I do is I clog the nozzle with my hand, and it spits it all back out inside the cabinet, and then it clears it out for a minute, and then it just continually has this problem with like slugging. So I changed the media. I was doing walnut shells because I thought that wouldn't clog up so much, and I've tried glass. I've tried everything, and I finally searched the internet and I figured out how to fix this problem. So I'll show you real quick. It's a super easy problem, or a super easy solution. So first things first is I've got a moisture control on the front. You should be running one of these. You can't have moisture in the cabinet. That's pretty obvious. But that's not what I was working on. Here's what I did. So basically what I figured out here is that it just gets clogged up in the bottom. So there's 2 tubes. You can see, let me see. So there's 2 tubes. One of these is like a vent tube, and then this is the, this is for my gun, right? Get back in there. So this is my gun, and then this is like a vent tube that comes on this cabinet normally. So what's supposed to happen is this vent tube is supposed to let air go down in there so it can pick up the media. So it doesn't work, and it's not efficient enough. So here's what I did. Super simple. So this is my air, right, coming in from the outside. So my air comes in here, and then I teed it off. So one of my tees goes to my gun. This is my air to my gun. But then I did this pressure regulator, and then this pressure regulator is what goes down into that vent tube. So I have this on just barely enough that it'll create some air bubbles down in here, and it creates an air pocket so it doesn't solidify the media, and then you're not slugging up the tube. So this introduces just enough air that it'll mix that up in there, and it makes it like light enough for the tube to pick it up. I don't know if that makes sense. But so basically all you need is like some 3/8 inch hose. This regulator I got on Amazon for pretty cheap. And I didn't know how much air I was gonna need, but it's very, very minimum. The air is super, super minimum though. You just barely want enough. It's kind of actually hard to tell you how to do it. You got to figure it out for yourself. But if you add too much air in, the cabinet doesn't work so good, because then it's just pulling air up and no sand. And if you have too little, you get that slugging problem. And it's just a slight turn of that regulator. So what I do is I just feel it out. So when I'm using the sandblaster, I turn it on just enough that I can still kind of feel it, like trying to slug up the tube or whatever, but just not enough that it gets clogged all the time. If it's getting clogged all the time, I'll crank it up just a tiny bit, and if it's not, then I'll turn it down just a little bit. But you can't have it too high, you can't have it too low. And just looking at this thing again, I mean, to give you an idea of what kind of a pressure regulator you need, I got a 160 PSI regulator, which is crazy now that I know what I'm doing with it. You could probably like get away with maybe like a 10-pound regulator. You don't need hardly any air. So if you get like a 10-pound regulator, it would probably be way better than what I've got going on here, because mine's just a slight twist of the adjustment, like so slight. And so if you had like a 10-pound, 20-pound regulator, you could probably move that and dial it in more. But that's been the solution. My sandblaster cabinet actually works for the first time in like 8 years. Before it was just, man, it was just painful and I could never get it to work. But just get the moisture out, fill it with a ton of media. Like I got this thing loaded with media now, because that's my only other problem is keeping it full because I'm blowing so much media. And then get that pressure regulator in there and blow a little bit PSI in there, and should be good. So I hope this helps other people out. Like I say, it took me forever figure this out, but I'm happy to say that this blast cabinet works now. So enjoy.